sit versus sit down. Next 2-minute round will be that. After you pass, sweep or submit. Swim back over, same position, same person in the guard. Good job, my man.
Hey everybody, how you doing? So today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about my PTSD and jiu-jitsu and what jiu-jitsu has done for my PTSD. I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder when I got out of the Army in 2010, and I'm actually rated 100% permanent and total disabled by the VA for my PTSD. In another video, I'll talk to you guys about my life with PTSD and what that means and what some of my symptoms are. But today I just want to talk to you about jiu-jitsu and my PTSD and how it's helped me out. I started training Brazilian jiu-jitsu in 2009, 2010. I started doing combatives in the Army, and part of that was the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu system. I really liked that, and I did martial arts and was actually able to get a grappling program together, and I started doing tournaments in 2010 and 2011, and I was awarded my blue belt by Professor Daniel Tavares in April of 2011, and I continued to train until August of 2011 when we moved. After we moved, there was a few years where I didn't train at all, and my symptoms from PTSD were kind of mellowing out. They were going up and down and just kind of all over the board. Well, we moved to Wisconsin about 6 months ago now, and when we got here, the first couple weeks, my symptoms were through the roof. I'm talking like some of the worst that I've had since I was untreated and undiagnosed. It was really bad. And Tasha and I knew that something needed to happen, whether I needed to go back on medications, if I needed to find counseling or groups or something. I needed something, right? And so we started going to counseling, and I was going to see a counselor every week and then every other week, just to kind of talk about what's been going on. And we've had a lot of stuff, just like life stuff happening, and it was making my symptoms like really, really bad. I wasn't sleeping, I was avoiding things, I was emotionally shutting down. It was horrible. Well, we talked about getting back into martial arts because when I had done Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu before, all my symptoms started going way down to really manageable day-to-day levels, and I came off of all my medications. And I was training 6 days a week. I was rolling. I was having a good time. It was heavy physical activity, and medication's gone, right? And so here I am again looking at going back on medications, back in counseling, trying to use all the tools that I was given for counseling, and nothing's working, right? And I'm just like, ugh, come on. So we found a school. It's called Foundations Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I was reading through the bios, and the black belt of the school is a veteran, and the kids instructor is a veteran. I found that out. I was like, sweet, these dudes will get it. So I show up, and the kids instructor, same MOS as I had. Awesome. The black belt, MOS in the same branch that I was in. Our jobs worked together a lot. Awesome, right? And so we were hooked. I started training there, and I trained there 4 to 6 days a week, depending on the week and our schedules. And since I've been doing that over the last 6 months, my counseling is now tapered off to about once a month now. There's a couple other things that we got to talk about with my counseling, but that, again, that's another video. I started to see, I stopped withdrawing. I was more emotionally available again. I started being able to come out of that just fog of depression and anxiety that just seizes hold of you, and that it's horrible. It's really bad. And the way that that did that for me was by the nature of what causes my PTSD. And, you know, I have a really hard time trusting people. Like, it's one of the hardest things for me to do, especially when you're in this close physical engagement of some sort. One of the things that I noticed with my PTSD specifically was I have this ridiculous paranoia about anything on my neck, right? Like anything at all. And I don't even know where it comes from. It's the weirdest thing. Well, I noticed that as I started doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, if you know anything about it, there's a lot of stuff happens up here. A lot. Right? And the first couple times, I freaked out. I mean, like cold sweats, flashbacks. I'm talking complete spaz. It freaked me out. The more that happened, I started to freak out less and less, right? And so they have a thing called exposure-based therapy, where you're put in a situation that's non-threatening, that simulates a trauma situation until you can start to disassociate the trauma from normal everyday stuff, right? Big psychological terms, but that's basically what it is. And so what I was unknowingly doing was putting myself through exposure-based therapy for being in close quarters with people in a physical struggle and taking the element of danger out of it. I was no longer engaged in a life and death situation. It's just two people training, helping each other out. Now, for some people, that may be like a long stretch. Maybe like, really, dude? That's kind of like, nah. I can't explain it to you, right? When you are living in a combat situation and you know every day when you wake up that there are people that are trying to kill you and don't want you there, it jacks up your brain. So when I came back, it wasn't sitting right with me. And as I started training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, now I'm engaged against another person. Okay? I'm engaged in another person. And this person is trying to physically dominate me. And I'm trying to physically dominate them. Sounds a lot like combat, right? So what I started to get desensitized to was this person's not trying to hurt me, right? Are they trying to submit me? Yeah, they're trying to submit me. That's the goal. And I'm trying to do the same thing to them, but they're not trying to hurt me. And there's a very, very distinct difference between submitting someone, hurting someone. Submitting, I have a choice of when I quit, right? If someone puts me in an arm bar, puts me in a choke, I can tap whenever I feel that I can no longer go on, right? And so there were times like people's hands would come here and here, and I'm not even close to choked yet, and I'm tapping, and they would stop. And for me, I was like, whoa, they stopped. And so it could go a little bit farther and farther and farther, till finally, I'm stubborn when someone's choking me. Right now, they can be up there for a couple minutes before I'll finally be like, all right, fine, and I'll tap. So I started to disassociate. So that's just one way that was helping me. And, I'm around a group of people, I'm in a training center, and I know there's a mutual respect between everybody there that we're just there to help each other out. Whatever you were, whatever you are, what your day-to-day is, when you step on the mats, that all goes away. All of it. Because when you lock in a rolling match with someone, I'm trying to use my techniques, my leverage, my strength to dominate you, and you're trying to do the same thing to me at the exact same time. There's a camaraderie that gets developed there that is very similar to what happened when I trained in the military. Very, very similar. Because we're all working to achieve the same types of things. So for me, that was just one of the ways that jiu-jitsu has helped me. And through that, I was able to find organizations like Veterans Jiu-Jitsu, which is an amazing organization to help veterans get in BJJ. The We Defy Foundation, who I'm actually a sponsored athlete by them. I applied to be a sponsored athlete, and I got accepted. And I am so humbled and proud to be able to put their patch on my gi and represent them at tournaments. I'll tell everybody that'll listen about who We Defy is. It is a group of veterans that have come together to show other veterans that your disabilities aren't a barrier for you to hide behind, but a barrier for you to go over or through. Whatever the excuse is to keep you at home and away from other people, if you're watching this and you have PTSD, go to a gym. Just go once, right? You can go on the We Defy website, find training centers that are We Defy certified, that if you tell them you're a veteran and that you're struggling with any type of disability, these guys will walk you through a process to help you feel comfortable and get on the mats. Amazing organization. And the last one is Mission 22. If you don't know, 22 veterans a day commit suicide. And the goal of Mission 22 is to end veteran suicide. Now that 22 number it's lowballed. It's definitely higher than that. But I support the Mission 22 because, again, in another video, I'll tell you why they're so important to me. But those are just some groups that I found through this that, as a veteran, I was like, whoa, I'm not alone. And that's the other thing that jiu-jitsu did for me, was it showed me that I'm not alone. So I'm going to link the websites to Veterans Jiu-Jitsu, We Defy Foundation, Mission 22, and even Foundation's BJJ. I'm going to put all their websites below. Check them out. And, I hope this helped any of you. If any of you have friends or family that are veterans that have PTSD, that you're trying to find something to help them, these organizations will all have tools to help get them out doing things. Start getting them involved. Vet centers, your VA mental health people are really great at trying to do this. Guys, I thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being part of the Scruffy fam and just doing life with us. If you like what you see, hit the little subscribe button below, and then also hit the little bell notification so you know we post new content. Got more content coming soon. Thanks, guys.